What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 297 of the allegedly award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB and Deej. Deej just had a Jimmy Neutron brain blast.
Yeah, for no reason. For no reason at all.
He said he had one, and then it's like the episode where it's like, funny monkey. When Jimmy gets real stupid.
That was literally for zero reason at all. Oh, bro.
We have got a lot to talk about on this episode because the PLL now has home cities. We're going to get into that on a bit more talking to these home markets perspective, as Deej and I have been fans of / covered the league since day one back in 2018, and kind of have, you know, a little knowledge about these teams and where they're heading, and have some knowledge of these home markets to a degree. And we're going to give you the lowdown if you're a fan in that market. If you were a fan of that team, why you should stay loyal to that team. And if you're a fan in a market of another team, but you have a new team in your market, why it's okay to be a fan of both. We're going to break it all down. And then we've got our NLL Season Preview Part 1. We're going to do Part 1 this week, breaking down the Old West Division, so all the teams on the West Coast this week. Next week, we'll break down the East. And Deej, in 2 weeks' time, we've got NLL Lacrosse back on our televisions.
I cannot wait. We are literally right around the corner, and this year I'll be making my return to the box game indoor. I should be making it to a Philly game. I should be making it to a Toronto Rock game. I'm hoping to make it to a Riptide game. So we're trying to make things happen this year. We're trying to make things happen, and I'm so excited for Box to be back, though. It's exciting, and when January comes around, I'm getting my team, my high school team, out to do Box. The whole team is going to come and play, so I'm slowly becoming a very big Box fan. It just provides a different element of lacrosse. Not that I'm leaving the field game or don't like it as much or anything like that. It's just in the winter, it's a different kind of lacrosse, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, and I mean, it gets you set for things like the championship series that's happening in February. It gets you set for the Olympics with sixes, you know, a very similar crossover there. So as long as there's lacrosse on TV, it's a good time, and that's what's happening. I just applied for multiple Riptide home game credentials, so fingers crossed that I'll get the response there sooner rather than later. And then obviously you guys know I'm on that Philadelphia Wings beat since day one, so I'll be in the building for most of those games outside of the home opener, because the OG producer of Underground Sports Philadelphia, Tyler Steinbrenner, is getting married that day, so I won't be in the building because, hey, when your best friend's getting married, you got to be there. But we're going to break down these home cities. We did over 2 hours of what we soft launch unofficially called OTB Radio yesterday during the announcement. That is exclusively on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. If you want like full on just like brain spewing of what our initial reactions, immediate thoughts were, that video will be up. It's under the live tab on our YouTube channel. Highly recommend watching it. And Deej, we had during that stream 56 live viewers. Since it's since it went as just a video, the viewers have doubled. So it's there. Big thanks to the homie Connor Eck and Phil Shore for calling in to OTB Radio. Big thanks to the Brian Avengers that were in the comments section.
Literally like 5 of them.
and everybody that was in the comment section, our new subscribers. We got 4 new subscribers on the channel. So that was huge. Big thanks to that. And if OTB rate, we're going to start the show off before we even get into the bidness side of things. If you liked OTB radio and you like that concept and you think it's something DJ and I should try to do on a consistent basis during the week, just, recapping games, news pops up before we record an episode of the podcast, and you want instant reaction, you want to just get them thoughts off and need a soundboard for it, let us know. Tweet at us, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and leave a comment on this video. Follow us on Instagram, DM us on any social platform, and let us know if you want OTB radio to be a close to somewhat consistent thing. There's going to be weeks where we're not going to be able to do it if we decide to embark on that journey. But if you want OTB radio, let us know in the comment section. DM us. Let us know if that's something you guys are interested in. Who knows? Maybe it's something, 2024 rolls around. You get double the OTB. OTB times 2. But let's get into this. Follow us on the socials at OTB Laxpod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Also, DJ, I don't know if you noticed, all the PLL teams now have new TikTok accounts.
Really?
Yes. I saw Atlas tweeted theirs, so that made me go to the official PLL account, and they posted like how you can post a photo with music as a post on TikTok, tagged all their new accounts with the logos of the teams. Seems like right now 3 of them are active, which were Atlas, Redwoods, and Chaos. The Outlaws was the old Outlaws TikTok account, so I think they're going to be, but the PLL official account tagged, I think, the accounts they're going to be using. So if you want to follow your team on TikTok, they're going to be there. Follow us on TikTok as well, because we're going to be pumping out a whole bunch of content on there. We're stepping up that TikTok game. But follow us on all the socials. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We want to be the #1 lacrosse podcast in the world. I know there's other ones out there. Those are the homies. We love all those shows. But in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. And we want to be in that pantheon. You guys make that happen week in and week out. We wouldn't be where we are right now without you guys subscribing, listening, showing your friends, sharing it with your people, and downloading episodes. Keep it going. Let's get this train. We want 2024 to be an insane year, and it starts with the back half of 2023 here. These final 2 months of 2023, rolling into 2024, let's make it massive. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of OTB every single week. You get full video episodes of every show on our network, live streams, potentially OTB radio more consistently if you subscribe. We're at 630 subscribers right now. We really want to get to like 700 by Thanksgiving. I know that's a tall task, but if we can get even to 650 by Thanksgiving, I'll be pretty thrilled. Deej will be pretty thrilled, and our Thanksgiving dinners will taste that much better. So go subscribe, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. I love that cartoon eyebrow raise you just did.
I haven't eaten today, so I'm pretty unhinged right now.
He's feral, ladies and gentlemen.
I am.
Don't call him Connor. Shout out to the milkman. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and get your merch. phiapparel.co. Black Friday is right around the corner. You want to look the best. You want to feel the best. You want to stand out in the crowd. No better way to do it than with OTB official merch. I'm going to be checking in today to make sure that our throwback duck mascot logo is up on the store for Black Friday. But you can get the OTB logo shirt. You can get the OTB hoodie, which I'll be ordering soon because I need that OTB hoodie.
Did we get
yesterday.
The duck on hoodie?
It should be on hoodies. Hoodies
that.
and shirts.
I want that on the hoodie bad.
phiapparel.co, and when you go to checkout, use code underground for 10% off your order. Most effective and direct way to support us. You want to see us keep doing cool stuff, traveling, all that good stuff. Buying merch really helps. phiapparel.co, code underground, 10% off your order. Deej, I know we did radio yesterday, but what's popping, brother?
Man, bro, we're getting into my favorite part of the year. This next week is my favorite week of the year. Because, Thanksgiving is here. I'm already thinking about all the different things that are going to be on my plate and the multiple plates that I'm going to eat and all of the sleeping and the football. Oh, man, bro. I'm going to Chicago for a Friendsgiving. I'm so hyped. I'm about to eat at my aunt's house for a Thanksgiving, then do the Friendsgiving the next day. And I'll still get to come home and go get a plate from my grandparents. Oh, bro. Sorry, y'all. Thanksgiving's way too. Oh, y'all are finding out just how much I love Thanksgiving. I don't like Christmas because it overshadows Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is seriously my favorite holiday. I love Thanksgiving so much. Oh, and first off, Lions are 7-2. The Pistons have so much potential. The Wings are, at least at this pace, are going to get it squeezed into a playoff spot. Michigan football is good. Michigan basketball is good. Michigan hockey is good. The Green Bay Packers are doing exactly what I said they would do. And my fantasy team is balling out. Dude, I'm on top of the roof right now. And I actually just found out a bunch of my lacrosse players quit their winter sports for whatever reason. So I'm going to be able to work with them all winter. So my high school team is going to be taking the leaps it should be taking. Dude, I'm getting a new car. Did I even tell you I was getting a new car?
Nope.
I'm getting a new car.
Okay, Oprah. Would you reach under your seat?
Yeah, my mom's getting a new car, so I'm taking over her lease. It's only got $2,000 left on it, so that's nothing. And I'm keeping my car as a backup and everything. I'm just getting a new car. Boom, things are going.
You heard 2 phones. My man got 2 cars.
Yeah, bro, it's better than 2 phones. I think I'm gonna get a new phone soon.
One for the home and one for the road.
And my Funko Pop collection is through the roof. I technically got 14, but one of them is in a 4-pack. So it's 1, but it's got 4 figures in there. So that's really 14.
He really is unhinged, folks.
Yeah, and that's been what, in a couple months for real? I kind of bought one and it was well, here we go.
I scratched that itch.
Yep. The most recent one was bought by my grandma, though. I didn't have to buy this one, so it's okay. That just means I'm due for one. And I think I'm going to get my own. Create one and buy it. And I think I'm going to take that one out of the box. That'll be the only one I take out of the box. I don't know where I'm going to put it, though. I've been thinking on the dashboard of my new car.
Outside the box, if you will.
See? Now you got to get one.
Eventually.
You know what? Don't worry about it.
This fucking guy.
Don't worry about it.
But anywho,
let's just go show up on your doorstep.
We did over 2 hours of OTB radio yesterday, live reacting to the home cities and everything. So if you want, just like I mentioned, if you want unfiltered, just pure reaction, go check that out for sure. PLL Home Cities, though, were announced on Tuesday, and They are as follows, everybody. If you missed it, if you live under a rock, we've got the Boston Cannons, the New York Atlas, the Philadelphia Water Dogs, the Maryland Whip Snakes, the Carolina Chaos, the Denver Outlaws, the Utah Archers, and the California Redwoods. Deej, I think it's only appropriate right now before we get into breaking it all down. Let's take a moment of silence for all the chromies out there, all the beauties. Let's all bow our heads and reflect on what a run. Thank you.
And now that you say that, and since we've had a moment of silence for them, everybody shake it out and put on your chrome foil hat for me. Because chrome ain't going forever.
Nope.
In Midwest, listen up to me. I know. We're all hurt, me included, that we didn't get a team right away. We deserve one. We showed out both times they came to Columbus. I know we were voting. I see us talking about it on the socials all the time. I see you guys out at the travel tournaments. I see you out at the PLL events. It's okay. Our time is coming. Possibly January 1st, but definitely at some point in the future. I believe the Chrome come back to the PLL as the Columbus Chrome. And we'll be able to call them home here in the Midwest. So it's okay. I'm hoping January 1st is the date that we get to hear this. It would make sense with the extra game that each team gets to play in their home city or multiple cities, if you were listening to Paul and his State of the League. It makes sense, but we could see bye weeks. There's a whole bunch that goes into that, but I definitely think the Chrome come back to Columbus. It fits. The name fits. I think the team fits our area in terms of their dynamic as a team. They're like the most like when you look at how they branded themselves on social media and such, they were the most like blue collar team in the league. Midwest is full of a bunch of blue collar workers, whether you want to believe it or not. If you look at a lot of things we do, we're a very blue collar society. Actually, some people may not know out there, but the 5-day, 8-hour work week comes from who? Yeah, Henry Ford, the guy who makes cars over in Detroit. So yeah, we're very blue collar. Chrome fits our dynamic. So when they come back, I kind of expect them to be in Columbus.
To which I also added on when you brought that up on radio, the Columbus Chrome make a ton of sense just from alliteration, the turnout that has happened in Columbus. And that's no slight to Minnesota either, because I think Minnesota will eventually end up with a team as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know, and Paul talked about this as well in State of the League, and why the Outlaws are back, because when they acquired and merged with MLL, they got the intellectual property of those existing teams in the 2020 MLL bubble, which was those 6 teams. That's why the Cannons came back when the merge happened, and that's why the Outlaws are back now. I don't know if there's a workaround for them to acquire the IP of previously existing teams, a la the Ohio Machine. But if you want a fun workaround to that, what's a machine made out of? Metal. What's a nice, fancy, clean-looking metal?
Chrome.
Make the throwbacks of the Columbus Chrome the Ohio Machine.
They just look Ohio Machine like, but it's got all chrome stuff on it.
Got that blue.
Mm-hmm.
There's ways to do it.
It's already in the color scheme. Like,
it would be funny if there was a place. I don't know if there is at all, but it would be funny if there was a dome in Columbus, because then you could just call their stadium the Chrome Dome.
I don't think there's one in Columbus.
That'd be hilarious, though.
I think there's one at the Hall of Fame in Canton.
Yo, we out to the Chrome Dome.
That would be great.
That would go dummy.
And then the fan section is called the Chromies.
Yo, shout out to all my Chromies. Why did they not run with that? I get the beauties aspect, like very, very like niche, like that was the thing, but like
in the men.
Chromies
would have been dope.
That is ours, OTB certified trademark, copyright 2023, all rights reserved. Why did we not think of that earlier?
We just
could have been.
Man, that's on us.
That's on us. We'll take that.
We'll take that one to the chin, because
we'll wear that one.
We know the pod. We know they'd be listening to the pod. So
yes.
Yep.
So yeah, we've got our 8 home markets. We've got conferences, which is going to shake up the playoff format just a smidge. It's going to shake up our traveling for next season a bit, which is kind of fun, kind of exciting. Let's start in the East. Let's knock the easy part out. The Boston Cannons. Nobody ever stopped calling them the Boston Cannons. It was a foregone conclusion that they were going to be back. I like the new B logo. And shout out to the boy, Liam Murphy, our guy, homie through and through, doing the entire redesigns for all 8 teams. Brilliant job, brother. Shout out to the homie. We're going to work to get Liam on to talk about that process as well. Because I think he deserves his flowers. He does such a great job with graphics and designs and everything for the PLL, as well as photography and everything on game days. So shout out to the boy. Cannons are back. No notes. Easy. That one was a no-brainer.
Oh yeah, dude. Boston for me, I think I was one of the first people to say they were going back when we put cities. I was like, okay, well, I think I said that when they came in. I think I was like, okay, so whenever cities come, that's an automatic. And then I think that started my theory of, adding more teams, and Denver would be one that would be easy to add because, everything's right there, Chesapeake, and going down that line. And I wasn't really wrong.
Nope.
So
we rarely ever are.
Right. So that was pretty cool just to see that part. Like, to see the Denver part was cool to me, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But I kind of felt really, really smart when I said that forever ago. But I mean, Boston was a smart choice because they already have fans there. Like we talked about a little bit yesterday. Like, those fans are automatically back there. Like, Boston might have the biggest fan base in the league now, just automatically, because they took the new Cannons fans and then added them to the pre-existing Cannon fans that were already there since 2001. They literally might have just jumped the Redwoods for the biggest fan base in the PLL, and it's literally a matter of an announcement, which is crazy. Because the Redwoods built that fan base, truly built that fan base from year one. And people were out and enjoying Redwoods having chance. And now it's kind of like, oh yeah, you're at least now maybe Redwoods might not even be second highest anymore. Just depending on, how things shake out with a few of the cities in terms of Philly and Carolina and such.
I think the Cannons might have the number 4 fan base.
I don't know, man. We're talking.
I'll tell you who I think is ahead.
I know who you think.
No order of top to bottom, but
Maryland.
I think the Outlaws.
Okay.
Them coming back and potentially adopting the Chrome fans into their inner circle. The Whipsnakes, who had a pre-existing fan base from being the first champions and then going back to back. Whipsnakes fans are very present. And now you put them in Maryland, where more than half that roster went to college, and that's where a lot of the fandom began.
I think that's where all the fandom has always been. Because I don't see too many. Well, I see a handful of Whip Snakes fans when I'm out.
And I mean, shout out to Whips Nation too.
Yeah.
Alex has done a phenomenal job of like curating online fandom for the Whip Snakes and having a hub for Whip Snakes fans to, kind of meet in the middle.
Yep.
So I think Whips are in there. And I think the Redwoods fans, even though they're going to California, I think Redwoods fans are, we talk about all the time. They're the number one fandom in PLL Nation on the app this year in terms of fan boost throughout games and during games. They were the OG, like, established, like, fandom, Woods Nation. And just because they're going to California, I think that just means the expansion of the fandom. I don't think the fandom's really going to dissipate too much. And, a lot of people thought the Redwoods could end up in the Midwest. Those Midwest fans that were Redwoods fans, I think they're going to follow along with the Redwoods.
Well, what else are we supposed to do, sir?
I'm just saying.
But what else are we supposed to do?
So the Redwoods,
everybody isn't as lucky as me to have a backup fan spot to fall into. What do you want to call it? What do they call those big balloon things they blow up for people when they fall off a building?
Cushion?
Yeah, sure. I didn't have a fan
fail safe.
I didn't have a fan cushion, or they didn't necessarily have the same fan cushion or fail safe that I had in the Philly. This pod gives me a secondary fan base to just fall back on in every sport at all times, i.e. NFL. If I want to, I can walk around and say I'm a Philly Eagles fan.
He'll walk around Michigan and drop a "Go Birds," yeah.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, bro.
Like I will do
bang,
it.
Bang, Bird Gang.
It does not matter to me. That's okay. But
I mean, you're almost as big a Phillies fan as you are a Tigers fan.
Exactly. So I could say, okay, sure, I can still like the Redwoods, but if I decided to not like the Redwoods, I could just like the Water Dogs because I actually am invested in Philly sports. I think Philly might have jumped Chicago for my second residence at this point.
Look at that. Look at us, Philadelphia. Look at us.
We
did it, Joe.
I did do it.
So yeah, Cannons, that was a no-brainer. Next up, the New York Atlas. Watching the hype video that, I gotta say, no offense, didn't get me too hype. Mostly because I, as a Philadelphia fan through and through, New York teams are enemy number one. Not to say the players on the Atlas are enemy number one, but it's going to be fun banter online with Philly, New York, Boston in this little triad, and then the Whip Snakes just like waving high and trying to slither their way in. See what I did there?
Hey, you already know. Listen, as long as you stay away from Chris Greasy and Jeff Teat, I got no words. I don't care. Because this is what's cool about not being a true Philly fan is I can like the Riptide. And it's okay because I'm not really from Philly, so they can't say anything to me about that.
Oh, that's funny. The new Atlas logo, I've seen mixed reviews online for it. You and I are both very pro new Atlas logo. The eyes needed to open. It's like Evanescence, like wake me up inside, and woke up the Atlas logo. It looks very clean. The tertiary logo that they have, I think, is their best. That incorporates all facets of Atlas with the bull, the globe, and then just the crest. That's my favorite of the logos there in terms of this refresh for Atlas. New York is an interesting market for them. We talked about it on radio a bunch. There's a lot of New York connections with the players on that team, whether it's, they are from New York, went to college in New York. And And I mean, New York is all encapsulating, according to the announcement of them getting New York, from upstate to the Onondaga Nation to New York City to Albany to Long Island and everything in between. It's a state team almost, more so than New York City. New York's a staple market in every big sports league, so of course New York was going to end up there one way or another. I also think New York Atlas leaves the door open when and if they want to bring back the Lizards, to rebrand them to the original team name and make them the Long Island Lizards. I thought about that last night as well, where they were once the Long Island Lizards.
And then
I think that leaves the door open to then have two New York teams, New York Atlas, Long Island Lizards. You build that interstate rivalry as well.
So where do you push the New York Atlas then if you take them out of Long Island? Because I love the idea. I'm not when I ask this question. It's just, I guess, kind of to get the ball rolling on which other New York cities deserve a team. Or they could do the same thing that every other league does and put two in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
That's also an option that I don't think anybody really threw out there. Is literally every other major sport in the country has two teams in New York.
Except for football, because there's only one team that plays in New York.
Technically.
Two of them play in New Jersey.
I know.
I pay taxes on that dump of a stadium.
We've had this conversation all the time.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I like it. The Empire State Building was lit up Atlas blue last night, so that was pretty cool. The Atlas are here in New York, led by Trevor Baptiste and the rest of those Bulls.
For now.
The Philadelphia Water Dogs. The Water Dogs are here, bro. Going to fucking Philly. The Water Dogs are here. Bang, bang. The dog pound. Ready to bark. I'm stoked. I'm stoked about this. I love this for a lot of reasons.
Look at you already wearing
gear. Shout out to the boys.
You couldn't wait to throw
Shout out to the boys. I'm stoked. One, Andy Copeland is part of the OTB coaching staff. He has supported us since day one. We did his first interview ever as head coach of the Water Dogs. Michael Sowers, obviously being the face of the franchise, is from here. #. And we saw over the last 2 years the culmination of the Water Dogs being Philadelphia's team while playing 4 championships at Subaru Park, winning one of those championships as well. It made so much sense. I love the refresh of the logo, the Great Dane being the state dog of Pennsylvania, the collar being the Keystone logo is very cool. The dog looks more of like a sports logo. Not that the old Water Dogs logo didn't, but I like that the stick was removed from the logo. We are very anti-stick in logo unless it is incorporated properly, like the Whip Snakes have for years, like the Saskatchewan Rush new logo has, using it to create the logo rather than it's just like, here's a logo, here's a stick in the logo. Be creative if you're going to do it. And very few teams can pull that out. Even the Cannons, having their logo as well is the way to do it. And I think Philadelphia and Deej, since he's known me, like the passion that Philly fans have, they'll get behind a team no matter what. We talk about it all the time with like the WNBA. If you put a WNBA team in Philly, we're going to sell out the Wells Fargo Center for them. Like the Philadelphia Soul are on their way back with the Arena Football League. We put the press release out. It got 75,000 impressions on Twitter. The Water Dogs are going to be a team that Philadelphia falls in love with, if you haven't already. If you're an existing Philly fan, I was talking to my friends that I have a group chat with from this Philly season. I sent the hype video, and they were like, I know nothing about lacrosse, but this got me ready to run through a brick wall. there you go. You know, like that's what the Water Dogs are. They're underdogs. They're scrappy. They're blue collar. They have very like impressionable and easy to connect with players. Like they are Philadelphia's team through and through. I'm stoked to have them in our backyard. I'm stoked to have them like readily accessible if needed for us and just as a whole, and to add them to the roster. And who knows, maybe Cope's going to show up on the main pod time and time again. But, you know, the Water Dogs, we kind of like adopted them as one of our own as well when they came into the league. And I know they're regarded as the Barstool team. They're the part of my take team. But, like, hey, just saying, haven't seen Big Cat and PFT at a game, but we've been there. We've been rocking with the Dogs since day one. And, very happy to have a team in Philadelphia for sure. You know, I was unsure about it at first because it's like, oh, that's championship, you know, pedigree. That's where champions are born. But the more and more I've like sat with it, and since the announcement, I'm stoked that the Water Dogs are Philly's team.
Yeah, Philly is going to absolutely love this team. They obviously don't really know much about them yet, but as they meet this team, they're going to fall more and more in love with them. They think the Phillies are fun. This team is going to be astronomically fun.
They are on par with like vibes.
Oh,
like,
absolutely. The vibes are going to be electric, and I just can't wait for the people of Philly to find that out. But also, Michigan fans, Michigan lacrosse fans, if you are a fan of the University of Michigan lacrosse, this is your chance to choose truly who you want to be a fan of. Hopping on the Philadelphia Water Dogs does not make you a bandwagon because of Mikey Slaughter, and the way that the city of Philadelphia will embrace Mikey Slaughter in the next few months, probably, because it's going to be quick, will give you a clear path through. Like, literally, the people of Philadelphia would be like, you rock with this guy? Fine, because thank you. He is a native of Philadelphia without ever touching foot here.
Mikey Schlosser is the epitome of Delco.
Literally. It's so funny because he's so far from it at the same time. So it is hilarious, and that's our key in. So use it if you want it, or just keep rocking with who you've been rocking with. That's also okay too, because, you know, it's free game for us right now, and we can talk about us liking more than one team when we get one.
The final team, again, a no notes type of situation. The Whipsnakes claiming Maryland as their home base. I do think it's very funny because I would assume Johns Hopkins is going to be the home stadium for the Whipsnakes. It's very funny, though, because obviously most of these guys are Terps. The Terp Snakes, as they've been nicknamed since year one, playing at Hopkins. That's just another, like, jab at the Hopkins-Maryland rivalry. Everyone that was saying the Whipsnakes were going to turn into the Rattlers, what are we talking about? What are we talking? Jordy, I love you, but they don't have the IP for the Rattlers, as far as we know. And when a snake sheds its skin, it doesn't turn into a different animal. It just gets new skin, and that's what the Whipsnakes got. They drop the teal, bring in the yellow, the gold, whatever they're going to call it. It looks clean. I think the Whipsnakes logo is one of the better ones from the original 6. And, you know, there was not really anything you had to change. You make it more accommodating to the Maryland area. And, you know, the Whipsnakes have been Maryland's team before Home Cities were even on the brain of people. They claim them as their own. So congrats to Maryland for bringing the Terp Snakes home.
Yeah, I mean, everybody saw this coming from day one. I saw it coming a long time ago. I like the move. It's going to help, you know, that portion of the country grow into the PLL and make the PLL like a mainstay, a household name in that area of the country. Perfect placement. It'll give me an opportunity to get out to Johns Hopkins, which I've still been trying to do. And I swear, if it's the same weekend it was this year, I'm going to rip my hair out. But I just don't like them using their state flag because that flag is ugly.
So bad.
And it just like I want the school. I want UMD to figure out a different color scheme too. Like, stop it.
I want to put this out there because obviously it's a big Baltimore Ravens fan thing where they wear the camo cargo pants and everything. I want Whipsnakes fans to do that.
I'd be cool with that.
With those colors. Whether it's the new colors or the old colors, I need Whipsnakes fans to adopt the camo cargo pants.
I'm cool with that.
So there's your Eastern Conference.
The Ravens kind of use the flag too.
Not
like if you not as much, but if you like pay attention, it's there, and that's so annoying to me. Shout out to the Oilers or the Orioles. Shout out to the Orioles because like they're doing a great job of just having their own branding. Yeah, thank you. We needed that.
Well, the Orioles, the only way they use it is the City Connect jerseys, which is just a Nike thing
that makes sense. That makes sense. Like, I'm not gonna say something about one jersey, but when it's in multiple, we got a prop.
And them being in Maryland, we got Philly, Maryland, Kenwood Beer. That's what we do. KenwoodBeer.com. It's in the Maryland area. It's in the Philadelphia area. It's in Pittsburgh and New Jersey. You guys can go to KenwoodBeer.com. Use the Kenny Finder. See who's got it on tap in those areas, who's got it in local liquor stores in those areas. Got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. And my brain has been thinking, Whips, Dogs, now that they're in the same conference, we got to have the Kenny Cup.
I'm down for the Kenny Cup. And I was just thinking, what if we get another sponsor in on this? Trophy Smack. And we get them hooked up with Kenny and have them both create
the Kenny
cup
Cup
together that we can present alongside them. This could be something big. I'm liking
Kenny Cup. I'm here for it.
We already know Cope is on board.
Cope is on board. Stags, I'm sure, would be on board.
Paul, Mike.
That's who we got to talk to.
I think hold on.
Rachel DeCecco.
Okay, 7 of us need to sit down and have a conversation over dinner, maybe.
Jimmy Seafood with some Chickies and Pete's crab fries. Bring it all together.
We're talking now. With a few Kennys at the table.
Sheesh.
And we might as well bring Kenny and Kenwood and Trophy Smack in on this too.
Yep.
It's like 9 or 10 people. Nice little dinner business meeting.
Easy. Kenny Cup's gonna be a thing. It's got to be. Love it.
We're gonna work for it. Oh.
And I mean, it works too because you got Matt Rambo on the Whips. He's got that Philly and Maryland connection as well. So yeah, there's your East Conference. Now your West is where it gets real interesting, everybody. Let's start with the Carolina Chaos. Does Chaos survive the impending doom of what everyone thought was going to be the rebranded or dropped team? I said it on Twitter. There was no way you could axe an original 6 team that has a championship to their name. And by championship, I mean regular season championship because obviously Chrome won a championship series trophy, but you can't eliminate an OG team from the PLL that won a title. It made too much sense. I love the logo redesign. The original Chaos logo, very cool. This new one is clean. Like, we talked about it on radio. Like, you look at that logo and you can see it in your brain animated and moving like a scorpion would move. The Carolina Chaos, I love the alliteration. I love the color scheme sticking around. That team is built to be in the South like that, and Carolina is going to love the Chaos roster from Jack Rowlett to Jared Newman, Blaze Reardon, Troy Ray, the Bandits boys, Josh Byrne, Dane Smith, Ian McKay, Chase Frazier, Chris Kluche going back to Carolina, Jack Rowlett going back to Carolina. the list goes on and on. Johnny Surdick, Nick Rowlett, Max Adler, Kyle Jackson. There's another opportunity for your Michigan lacrosse fans.
Hey, man, Nick. Yep.
We love Chaos. Those are the homies as well. They have been since day one. And listen, you want to get behind a coach, AT is that guy. And I saw somebody say the day AT gets to crank the siren at a Carolina Hurricanes game, good night. That is going to be must-see television. Carolina got the perfect team, I think. A lot of people were saying, I don't get it. I don't get the fit. It's the perfect fit. And now it gives us an opportunity to talk about the Kenny Cup. This is now our opportunity because Carolina, obviously one of those hotbeds for barbecue.
Yes.
It's our chance to make Newman Nuke's hot sauce Carolina style.
It does. It does. We got to hop on that.
We got to put some Carolina Reapers
we need to take
in the works.
Stuff, man. We got to take advantage of the city stuff. It's helping us out.
Newman Nuke's hot sauce needs to happen.
Now, Newman.
With Jared Newman and with the assistance and chef connoisseurness of one Jerry Raganese.
Jared, don't make me press you. You remember what happened in DC.
I love Chaos going to Carolina. It's fun that they're in the West. I love Paul's explanation for it. That the Charlotte Hornets were in the West in the NBA at one time. And he also said for the longest time, University of North Carolina was the furthest school west to have a national title to their name in lacrosse. So
that's hilarious.
That was great. Let's move to the defending champs, the Utah Archers. Utah has obviously been a staple market for the PLL. Was obviously there for the bubble. And for them to be rewarding the PLL, because who knows if the PLL exists if we don't have the bubble. They get rewarded the defending champs. I like that fit. Obviously, there was a more seamless fit a couple years ago when the bunk bed boys were there and everything. But I think that's part of the Archers story almost, to have Utah be on the map is because of guys like Will Manning, Marcus Holman, Adam Gittleman. And they are Archers legends. So now for them to be in Utah is very cool. The logo refresh is great. And, it's also kind of cool because, we talked about the Archers winning that championship in Philadelphia. The last time they played there was to get the draft pick that turned into Grant Ament. Where did Grant Ament play his first game in the PLL? Utah.
A lot of full circle stuff.
With the Archers.
I also think the Archers are the only ones who had a logo that could fit Utah as well. So I think that was a big thing with them getting a team. It pretty much had to be the Archers because, I don't know any other team you could have thrown out there, really. It was almost a seamless transition. You could take the extension off of the logo now, and it looks like the A that they had been using. Nothing really changed. They just added a few small tweaks to now create the Utah Archers. So I thought this was a very good, seamless transition that was set up from the first couple years in the league.
And I know there's a lot of Philadelphia connections for the Archers as well. Was one of those toss-up cities, I think, just with connections-wise. But I was talking to somebody, Deej, and here's the breaking news that I wanted to reveal to you on pod. A lot of people wanted the Archers in Philly, and no matter what, we got love for the Archers as well. They've always been great to us, and we want to work to get some more Archers on the pod. We've only had one, I believe, and that is Ryan Ambler. But we've had love from Grant Ament, who follows Underground, the main pod. Tom Schreiber has always been unbelievable to us since day one. Chris Bates has been amazing to us. The whole 9 yards. Top to bottom, that roster is incredible dudes, and we love the Archers. Was talking to somebody on the Archers coaching staff yesterday. Coach Cav is down to come on the pod whenever.
Really?
Said anytime, let's do it.
Wow.
So Coach Cav will be making an appearance on OTB
very soon.
Anytime, very soon. And there's a connection there because the clip from Ryan Ambler. Talking about Coach Cav running the shit out of that box back in 2020.
Yes, sir.
There it is. So Coach Cav will be making an appearance on OTB in the near future. Very excited for that.
Running the shit out of this box.
He's going to run the shit out of this pod. The Archers are in Utah. Let's talk about the revival. The Denver Outlaws are back. Taking over for Chrome are the Outlaws. So I'd say 80-20. Very stoked about the Outlaws coming back. A lot of people mixed feelings about an MLL franchise coming back into the fold and eliminating an original 6 team. I advise everybody to go watch the State of the League on the PLL YouTube channel because Paul Rabil dropped in some things that prove he listens to Outside the Box and just some interesting stuff across the board. But number one was the Chrome are gone for now. The PLL owns the IP of Chrome Lacrosse Club. They're not dead. They're just on a hiatus, if you will. They're in the shadows lurking. Chrome will be back at some point. I think it's just finding the right market for them, finding the way to market them on social media in a more effective way, and finding the right home market for Chrome. So they're not dead. They're going to with when it comes to Chrome, they were the team with the least amount of social followers, which Paul talked about that went into the decision for a lot of these things. I think the Outlaws, a team that hasn't existed for what will be 4 years. Like the Outlaws have not played a game since the 2020 MLL bubble. Has more than double the following of Chrome on social.
That was quick.
And those accounts never went away. They were just, they stopped posting when the merger happened. They existed. I think the Denver Outlaws Twitter account has like over 28,000 followers. Instagram, same type of thing. That plays a factor in determining things. Denver's a huge market for the PLL. They sell out Peter Barton Stadium every single year they've been there. Denver City Lax is a huge proponent of the PLL Assists program. Faces of franchises are from Denver, went to school in Denver. So Denver is a huge market that they were going to play into. And there's no team that you would have put there without it being the Outlaws, whether it was rebranding Atlas and making them the Outlaws or what happened, and it's Chrome. The Denver Outlaws are Denver's team, very much like the Boston Cannons are Boston's team. Even though they didn't have a city before, Maryland belongs to the Whipsnakes. Like, that was a foregone conclusion. I love the tertiary logo for the Outlaws now. That thing, I was texting Joe Keegan. He said, put it on a rope hat. I was like, I need that on a rope hat yesterday. It looks awesome. I'm very excited for Denver to have the Outlaws back. We saw a tweet on radio yesterday saying Outlaws fans been showing up to their stadium the last 3 years waiting for a game.
And that is hilarious because it's probably true.
It's so true. And I think this
box,
4th of July weekend is a staple. Lock it in. Denver's going to be there. It would be weird if it wasn't. And the Outlaws being back is good for the sport. That fan base is widely regarded as the best fan base of the MLL, and for good reason. They turned out, sold out almost every single game, every single year. Wild, rabid fan base injected into the West Conference for the PLL with the defending champs, with arguably number one fan base in the PLL. And then you have those crazy kooky chaos boys in there as well. Like, the West is wild. So welcome back Outlaws. The Outlaws are back. Odds that Outlaw Steakhouse gets a jersey sponsor for the Denver Outlaws.
They got one out there? They got an Outlaw Steakhouse?
It's a chain.
Outback?
That's what I'm thinking of. We haven't eaten today, guys. The brain has not been nourished.
Oh, that's hilarious. But there's a good chance they do.
But anywho, from the Denver Outlaws, we finish with the California Redwoods. California gets a team. It was kind of a shock, along with the New York Atlas. I think those were the two, like, oh, okay, type of reactions. Especially with the Redwoods' initial, like, dichotomy being very Notre Dame heavy. A lot of people expect the Redwoods to end up in Columbus, in Minnesota, somewhere in the Midwest. I said this on Twitter as well. Y'all know, since year one, I've been rocking with the Redwoods. I picked them as, like, my fandom before, like, we got in the trenches of the media thing. We respect all teams. I still love the Woods. Nat St. Laurent has been unbelievable to us since year one. That Redwood squad has been unbelievable to us since year one. Just because the Woods are in California doesn't mean I'm going to stop rocking with the Woods. Those are my guys, through and through. It's okay to root for multiple teams in a sports league, as long as they're not in the same division. You can't be doing no, like, Cowboys and Eagles bullshit or Phillies Mets bullshit, trying to be fans of both of those. That doesn't jive. But it's okay for me to have the Woods in California and root for them to win. It's okay for Chaos, a team who has been nothing but gracious across the board to this podcast and to us as people, to be in Carolina and me root for them to win. And then it's okay for me to have a squad in my backyard in Philadelphia with the Water Dogs, another team who has been unbelievable to us, for me to root for them to win. And it's going to be real fun because obviously we're a Philadelphia-based company. We cover the Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, Union, Wings. Now we got the Water Dogs. To have the main pod have a PLL team to get behind now is going to be fun, along with us doing the national coverage here on OTB. I'm still rocking with the Woods. Nat St. Laurent quote tweeted my tweet. The league retweeted his tweet. How we live in California. You are getting one of the coolest sports franchises out there. The Woods are high energy, high profile, superstars, and I think they're just scratching the surface of this new iteration of what they're going to be. You're getting an all-time legend in RP3, Rob Pinnell in California. You want to talk about somebody who's kind of made for Hollywood? It's Rob Pinnell. You're getting a guy like Jules Henningberg, who is going to, I think, be a fan favorite. Nakai Montgomery tweeted, Cali. You're getting Ryder Garnsey, who's the ultimate, like, Cali swag type of player. California's getting one of the coolest rosters in the league, and I'm very stoked for it, and it makes a lot of sense from this aspect as well. The Olympics are coming to LA in 2028. What better way to build up the hype and build up promotion around the sport than to have a professional franchise in California where the Olympics are happening, where the league headquarters is, Redwoods in California is a perfect match for a lot of reasons. I think it's a great pick for them.
I mean, it's smart to have something near your HQ as well. Like, and they're getting one of the most exciting teams in the league. Fan base is going to come strong behind them. Their games are going to be electric. Like, that team is fun. Like, when you look at their personalities, Cole, Nakai, Ryder, Jules, Timmy T,
Jack
Kelly, OG, like, you can just go down the line and there's
Glaze.
Yeah, Glaze is just gonna live it out there. He's gonna be on the beach with his missing tooth and doing cleans all day. Like
Garrett Epple.
It's gonna be awesome to have those guys out there. They're gonna be in the community. They're all guys who love giving back and wanting to help grow the game, which has been a huge initiative out on the West Coast as well. So they're only gonna help that. I can't imagine that some of those guys aren't these kids' favorite players, and now they're
Romar Dennis.
Yeah, and now they're within distance of these guys. Like, these guys can go and impact these players right away, and it's a good move, especially when you bring up the Olympics.
And you want to talk about too, like we've said this forever. Like, the Redwoods are the most diverse team with different cultures, different backgrounds on that roster, from the African American community to the Hispanic Latino community, and California is made up of culture from all the way up north in Northern California, all the way down to SoCal. California is a very diverse state. I think the Redwoods, from that aspect as well, from a culture fit, is very, very cool and very, very smart and calculated by the league. Romar with, the Latino community in California is going to be huge. Isaiah Davis-Allen, Nakai, Jules for the African American community, huge. Like, it's such a very cool, won't be talked about as much in the main light of the league, but to have a team filled with culture, your head coach is black, that means something to growing the game. That means something to a very diverse state like the state of California. And I think that's a really cool underlying aspect that should be, and I truly believe will be, promoted in a very positive way for the league and done by the league, especially with them being in the same state as HQ.
Yeah, I think this grows the league exponentially, helps Lacrosse, helps LA. This was a very smart move. It hurts to those of us in the Midwest who felt like this should have been our team, but it can still be our team from a distance, and will help the league a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And us as a pod, we rock with a ton of teams, almost all of them, because they're more than willing to give us their time. We give them our time. That doesn't mean we're going to stop rooting for any of these teams just because they're in home markets now. We want all of these teams to succeed as a pod, hands down. Like, that's what helps the league get better. That's what helps make our content better. And for them to have home cities now just makes it cooler from just a fandom perspective to see what our listeners and you guys watching and listening are rooting for, and having that fun banter back and forth with you, because we're going to still do this show the way we've done it since year one. We're still going to have our fun banter with Whipsnakes fans, with Atlas fans. It's going to be fun to have Denver Outlaws fans who haven't been around since 2020, and we didn't really cover the MLL like that when this podcast started because the PLL started the same year we did. So it was like, let's jump in with the new shiny toy, and obviously worked out well for us. And we covered the bubble to a degree, but it wasn't, the MLL wasn't our main focus. It was NLL, PLL. Let's see what we can do. And to have the Outlaws back, like, we're welcoming Outlaws fans. Come listen to our show. We want you in the mix with us. We want to have fun with the Outlaws. We want to have, that history lesson with you guys. A team that was around from 2006 on. Like, I wasn't watching Lacrosse in 2006. I wasn't watching Lacrosse in 2010. I wasn't watching Lacrosse when the Outlaws won 2 of their championships. Bring the Outlaws fandom into OTB Nation. Like, come on through. We are welcoming you with open arms. To the Chrome fans, our Chromies, the Chrome foil hat will never go away. We're going to try to put that on a shirt, faux show. I'm thinking make it a Chrome foil hat, but pink. That is what you need to imagine when you're putting a Chrome foil hat. It's pink Chrome. We're here for you. It's a safe space. You can always talk Chrome lacrosse with us. And I think, like, the fact that we have East and West, we have conference rivalries now, inter-conference rivalries, cross-conference rivalries. We're going to have, Paul talked about in State of the League, we're going to have an East and a West conference final and semifinal. It's a good next chapter for the PLL, man.
Oh, amazing. I'm so excited. It's the early beginnings of what the league will look like when it flourishes out and is truly settled down in cities with conferences that are full of 8 teams, 12 teams, and just continues to build out. You see they're setting the foundation for that right now. And if you're upset, just look at the bigger picture. That's what I've been trying to do for the past 24 hours, is literally 24 hours now, is look at the bigger picture and how this is going to help the sport of lacrosse and the league get to where we all want to see it get to. And that's some 20-some, 30-some teams where they're all over the country, and more than likely, most people who are looking for a home city will have, or a home team will have one to attach themselves to.
And let's not forget, the PLL still has 2 open city spots on the schedule for games. If your home market did not get a team and they wind up going there for one of those open slots on the schedule, that is your opportunity to show out and prove to the league, hey, you snubbed us. We're going to make sure we don't get snubbed again, and make sure that when a team gets integrated into the league again, a la Chrome, a la the Bayhawks, the Lizards, the Hammerheads, the Barrage, whatever it may be, that's your chance to show out and show that your market deserves a team. And I think some of the teams that missed out on a home market, you're going to get a chance for a playoff game. You're going to get a chance to host the conference final of a team. Look at Connecticut, a market that showed out the 2 years they went to Fairfield. The relationship that the league has with Fairfield University. Sellouts both years. An electric atmosphere. Didn't get a team. I was texting Deej this morning. I'd be shocked if Fairfield doesn't host a playoff game. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if Fairfield doesn't get a chance to host an all-star game, because that market deserves the PLL integration. You look at Columbus, you look at Minnesota, even though it was West Coast and, we didn't really get to see all the all-encapsulating numbers, and TV skews it a little bit because it is West Coast and late starts. Look at Seattle. There's a reason the league went back to Seattle after the first time they went. You look at Dallas and look at Texas. That's another market that should be, showing out. They showed out both years they went to the Star. There's opportunities across the board for teams to come through and markets to show. I mean, even look at the All-Star game in Louisville this year. An untapped market that the fans showed out for and really made an impression on Mike and Paul, to where they were talking about the All-Star game weeks after and how well the fans showed out for that. You have an opportunity to do that if you missed out on a home city with those open spot games, with the All-Star game, with playoff games, if that's how that continues to go, and being open cities and stuff like that. We're in for a treat in 2024 with the PLL. Championship Series is now officially the Boston Cannons, the Philadelphia Water Dogs, the Utah Archers, and the California Redwoods. That's going to be real fun, because we're going to get a first look at jerseys for home city teams there. 2 in the West, 2 in the East. That's exciting, So show out to the Champ Series too. Like, show out for your markets. If you're able to make it to the St. James, I'm just saying, closest team is the Water Dogs. Water Dogs fans, make it a takeover. You have a chance to do the funniest thing and make it home games through and through. But if you're a Redwoods fan, show out to the St. James. If you're a Cannons fan, show out to the St. James. If you're an Archers fan, show out. Or if you're a fan of teams that aren't playing and you just want to see more PLL action, show out to the St. James. But the home cities are here. I'm excited for more merch rollouts because the initial merch rollout is fire. I ordered a Philadelphia Water Dogs hat because I had to. It's in my nature. Got to have the drip. But yeah, like my loyalties lie where they lie. I appreciate every team in the league, but y'all know that the Redwoods, that Chaos, the Water Dogs, and the Archers have soft spots in our hearts. They have gotten down with us in a lot of ways. Even the Cannons, we've got homies on the Cannons through and through. We've got homies on Atlas. We've got homies on the new Outlaws. Homies on the Whips. We get down with every team on this show. But, we got soft spots for certain teams, and that's okay. That's what being a fan is all about. So let us know in the YouTube comment section your thoughts on the home cities, how you feel about if your city potentially got snubbed, if you're switching fandoms. Let us know why you're switching. And I'm just letting you know, it's okay to have multiple teams to root for. It's okay to root for multiple teams. You shouldn't get clowned for that. I'm just saying. But Deej from our PLL Home Cities, also go listen to OTB Radio. If you want more of this, go listen to OTB Radio. But from the PLL, we shift to the NLL. It's brought to you by our pals over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. Guys, we subscribe to a theory at this company that you need sunglasses more in the winter sometimes than you need them in the summer. It is bright as hell during the wintertime, and you need to protect your eyes. You need your blue light glasses when you're watching Lacrosse on TV, when you're watching this podcast on YouTube. Protect your eyeballs. Go to TomahawkShades.com or download the Tomahawk Shades app. And when you go to checkout, after you get everything in your cart, use promo code USP for 25% off your order. It's the most effective and direct way to support us, by supporting our sponsors. So TomahawkShades.com or download the app. Use promo code USP at checkout for 25% off your order. The NLL is on the horizon, and it's time for a season preview. We are going to go through the teams that made up the Western Conference before the unified standings occurred earlier this year, which includes the defending Western Conference champion Colorado Mammoth, DJ's Calgary Roughnecks, the San Diego Seals, the Saskatchewan Rush, the Vancouver Warriors, Panther City Lacrosse Club, and the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. We're going to go through some of the key moves that each team made, and we're going to give a simple yes or no if we think that team is capable of making the playoffs, because it is unified standing, so it is top 8 teams across the league that make the playoffs. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to make the playoffs in the NLL now. You got to be that much better. So, Deej, let's start with the defending Western Conference champions, the Colorado Mammoth. They won't have Ryan Lee this year as he had complications with knee surgery, so he's going to be out. So, Leeser, once again, get well, brother. We want to see you back out on a field and back out on a floor when you're 100% healthy. So, big loss there for the Mammoth going into 2023-2024. Won a championship, got back to the championship. They are built to do things like play for championships, very similar to the Water Dogs in the way that they won a championship, got back, lost, to a team that was waiting to get over the hump that just so happens to be branded with the color orange. But Deej, your thoughts on this Colorado team going into this season, where it's a revenge year now, as they're trying to get back, try to win 2 out of 3 championships, and right some of the wrongs that they had last year. It was kind of an up and down year for the Mammoth during the regular season. They were able to clamp in and make the playoffs later on down the stretch. But what are your thoughts on the Mammoth going into this year?
My biggest thing is I want to see how they start the year off. They started the year off really rough last year, and couldn't score goals. Like, that was the biggest thing, is they couldn't score goals. They were in such low scoring games. I mean, losing games 10-7, 8-6, 9-8, and like they couldn't score more than like 7 or 8 goals in a game, and it was just very daunting to see. So I want to see if the offense is able to come out and come with a little more firepower this year, and then if so, are they able to actually win those games and then propel themselves to a very quality season? Because their defense and goaltending was very good at the start of the year, and they were able to steal a few wins. But if their offense was clicking, I mean, we could have been talking about them being undefeated for a long time. And basically with them just reloading, they didn't really lose anybody or really add anybody significant. They just reloaded from the past 2 years.
They added somebody significant, and that's friend of the program, Paul Dawson.
That is right. Other than Paul, like, Paul's the one like super big thing they went out and did, because I mean,
and one other move that I think is going to be interesting for their offense with the absence of Ryan Lee, they did trade for Connor Kelly, and Connor's healthy now. He's made it through training camp. I'm pretty certain he's going to play. So Connor Kelly in the mix for that offense, along with Eli McLaughlin and those boys, is a fun new wrinkle. To see Connor Kelly and Zed together is going to be very fun. And I think that helps alleviate some of the absence of Ryan Lee, adding Connor Kelly's game into the mix.
Maybe.
Maybe. So that's gonna be fun to see CK Foudy back out on the floor now that he's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be fun, but Arleezy is a big part of that team.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting to see how they handle that piece. But knowing that they pretty much reloaded and added a few people, I like their chances this year to be a very solid team.
Yeah, they added Big Paul Dawson to the mix, which I think is huge for the locker room, huge for just the grit and the tenacity of that team. Makes them a little more mean and tough. But I think the Mammoth are going to be a force in this league for years. They have a good core intact, great coaching staff. Another thing to put into the mix, Deej, that I think a lot of people forget about, Joey Capito got injured during the regular season last year. He's back. That helps their transition game a ton. So I think, in my humble opinion, the Colorado Mammoth are nearly a lock on paper. Anything can happen. That's why they play the games. But I'm making the Colorado Mammoth a playoff team in my book. Are they a playoff team to you?
Yes. I like their chances of being a, top 8 team here. Yeah. I think they're better than the bottom half of the league.
Which moves us to your Calgary Roughnecks. New coach in the mix. Some new faces in the mix. And I think the Calgary Roughnecks are going to be quite a team this season to pay attention to. I think if you want to have a casual watching of the NLL, the Roughnecks are a team to certainly, turn the TV on for. Looking at their roster right now, a lot of that core back intact, led by Jesse King, Eli Salama, Josh Courier, Zach Courier, Christian Del Bianco, Justin Inacio is there as well. Tyler Pace, Hayden Dixon, Thomas Hogarth, now in Calgary, was with Rochester last year. I think that's a huge pickup for them. Just sifting through Liam LeClaire, obviously back on defense with them, and Shane Simpson, Dan Taylor, Harrison Matsuoka, This team's very fun. Jeff Cornwall's back with them as well. Tanner Cook got a nice little payday this offseason from the Roughnecks. How you feeling about your squad, Deej, now that you have a fandom to root for?
Turn me up. I mean, there's a reason I picked the Calgary Roughnecks. They're a very good team from top to bottom. I'm interested. The one question mark I have and the most interesting thing is I'm going to be watching the bench more than anything else, because I want to see how this new coaching staff does with this team. Like, this team is one of those that's right there on the hump. Like, they're pretty much neck and neck with the Toronto Rock. Like, that team that's constantly in semifinals, in the finals in terms of conference, trying to get into the finals for the NLL and win a chip. They're right there. So I'm wondering if maybe this change in leadership, and not because they fired Malowski, but because, you know, he moved on and decided to do things over in Vancouver. And maybe this turn and switch in leadership is exactly what the team needed, and they're able to propel them to the next step. But there's, without a doubt, championship, you know, expectations and strive. That's their goal. Their only goal is to win a championship. Truly, they're not, you know, looking to get into the playoffs, not looking to, you know, get to the conference finals and see what happens. Like, they're like, we need to be hoisting the trophy at the end of the year, and I 100% back that.
Yeah, they're gonna be a fun team. I think they're super, like, young guys in their prime, and I think they're just gonna build off of last year, where a lot of people counted them out as a team that wasn't going to be capable. You know, you lose Superman, you lose Dane Doby in back-to-back off seasons. Where does that leave you? And I think they use that to put a chip on their shoulder and use that to motivate them. I think they're a very good team. It's going to be interesting to see how a new coach in the mix kind of, you know, tries to help elevate them, because it is difficult to move on from a coach like Kurt Malowski, especially when he goes, you know, inner division of the Old West. But I think Calgary is more than poised to make the playoffs, and I think they're a playoff team as well.
I'm glad you agree. I hope we see y'all this year. I have to look at the schedule, but I think we do play.
Yeah.
But you'll be at a wedding, so we can't go.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is. It's their day game that you can't make it to.
No, I can make it to that one. I can't make it the home opener. We play Calgary in March.
Yeah, you told me you couldn't make it to that, though. I don't know if it's for something else. Maybe not wedding, but we were looking at it, and you were like, I don't think I can make that.
Timeout and play. Give me a quick 20.
You about to put me in one of them commercials, one of them check the replay commercials right now?
Let's see here. It's March. Well, I'm obviously not going to Calgary. In March.
Is it in Calgary? I thought there was one.
February. Oh no, it's in February. Yeah, that one is to be determined. It's a night game.
Oh no, it's for Buna. That's why
I'm checking that right now because I have the dates for that now. We are under official review. Flag on the play.
I wasn't necessarily wrong. I just had
yeah. Where was this? The official Buna account. Oh no, we good. Musical's the following week. We're going into March because we have a leap year this year. So February 29th, March 1st, and March 2nd is my musical. Roughnecks Philly. February 24th is All Systems Go, brother.
I might be working remotely and staying a week at your house after. after the champ series.
Yeah,
'Cause,
14th and the 19th is champ series, and then
that game would be worth it if we went together, dude.
yeah,
See my Roughnecks crush on those wings?
yeah, okay.
I'm just saying.
Hey,
We'll be workshopping that.
you already got a room at the crib, so.
We'll be workshopping that.
But yes, we are both on the same page. The Roughnecks are a playoff team. Faux show. Moving on to the next team on the list that made some wild moves just to get more and more super. The San Diego Super Seals adding Trevor Baptiste this offseason, which broke my heart because I'm going to miss having Trevor around week in and week out at the Wings facility and at the Wells Fargo Center. He moves on to San Diego via that huge trade. Kyle Rubisch now in San Diego. We've also got, I think there was one more big. Oh yeah, they traded Big Skiggs. Frank Chiliano now in Saskatchewan. So Chris Orglieri is your starting goaltender. Also listed on the official roster right now, Deej. Number 41 for your San Diego Super Seals, the Slim Reaper, Xander Dixon.
Really? Wow.
And also part of that Trevor Baptiste trade, Kyle Jackson, a member of the Super Seals. Kevin Crowley left in free agency to go to Vancouver. But yeah, Xander Dixon is on the roster, as well as Peyton Razanka on the roster. They got some big dogs on this team. Oh yeah, let's also not forget pulling a Brett Favre and coming out of retirement, Mike Poulin.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. We talked about that. That's so wild. That's
going to be out for a while as well. Eli Gobrecht just had surgery. Best wishes to the big dog. But he will play this season. He's just got a recovery time that's going to keep him out for a little bit. Yeah, this roster's loaded. I think the biggest thing they just have to do is not succumb to the hype and be one of those teams let down by the hype around them. They push their chips all in, and this is a team that is championship or bust. They're going to be very fun to watch. Seals are a playoff team.
I mean, they better be a playoff team. And if you ask me, they're in a championship or bust kind of season. Like,
yep,
they put this team back together. They've made great strides. They built a fan base. You know, they made it to the playoffs a couple times. You go and get Dane Doby, Curtis Dixon, Kevin Crowley, who you eventually shipped away. But, like, you go and get all these big names, you got to be looking to win a championship, right? Like, and with some of these names, these guys are getting toward the end of their career. So you're literally talking about championship or bust years. And I think they're definitely in one of those this year.
Yeah, I mean, they've proven they can win in the regular season. They got to show that they can win in the playoffs now.
Yep, and so far they have not shown that.
Correct. So that means we've got 3 of our 8 playoff teams coming out of the old Western Conference. Let's move to Saskatchewan, Deej, a newly rebranded Saskatchewan Rush, looking to build upon a somewhat successful year. Obviously, wasn't everything they had hoped for last year, but looking to grow, looking to build. And, you know, part of that was shipping away face of the franchise Mark Matthews to Toronto in a massive offseason trade. And Kyle Rubisch now in San Diego, so he leaves Saskatchewan as well. But you bring in Zach Mans. You bring in Patrick Dodds from Panther City. Ryan Keenan and Robert Church are back. That boy Bobby Kidd III is back on defense. He's a player to watch for me this year to just take another step forward for them. Mike Messenger is back. Mike Mallory is back. Jake Boudreau back. Adam J, now a part of this Saskatchewan Rush team. Holden Garland back. Keegan Bell, now in Saskatchewan. And Big Skiggs, Frank Chiliano, and Laine Hruska are your goaltenders. Looking to make some noise. A new-look Saskatchewan Rush team, both drip and roster construction-wise. How are we feeling about the Rush in 2023-2024?
I like the new drip, new brand, the new mascot, and I like some of the moves they made right in the offseason, going and getting a guy like Frank Skiggs and trying to change the culture there and bring back the old Saskatchewan Rush culture, because the fans are very much still in it and they still want to see good lacrosse and they still show up all the time. I like them buying back into kind of a little bit of the things that they went away from for a little bit. So that's awesome to see. But I don't know if they necessarily still have enough. Last year was a really tough year for them, and it takes a little bit to climb out of that. And I'm not sure if they're able to do that right off the whim right away. After just a few moves in the offseason. I think it may take at least one more offseason. So I personally don't have them as a playoff team just yet.
I have them as an on the bubble type of playoff team where, it could come down to those final couple games and they need something to go their way while also winning. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't have them in the playoffs as a lock, but they are could be one of those surprise, makes it in on the final day type of thing. But right now I don't have them as a lock like the other three teams we mentioned earlier to make the playoffs. Let's move on to a team that's looking to, you want to talk about culture and rebuilding and making a name for themselves. The Vancouver Warriors, a brand new head coach and GM in the mix with Kurt Malosky coming through. Kevin Crowley heads home to Vancouver. Logan Schuss is also now with your Calgary Roughnecks. We forgot to mention that as well.
Yes, he is.
But the Vancouver Warriors are going to look a whole hell of a lot different than they have in years past, and it starts with coaching. Coaching matters. And, Adam Levy posted a clip of Kurt Malosky after some of their preseason games, and the way that he was taking preseason losses just shows you how much he cares about winning. Matty Beers is back with Vancouver. Aaron Bold is back in Vancouver. You'll get another year of Reed Bowering, Adam Charlambeedi, Steph Charbonneau, Kevin Crowley now back. So Kevin Crowley and Sharbs reunited from their time in Philly. Ryan Dilks now in Vancouver. Tyrell Hammer-Jackson back in Vancouver. Kyle Killen another year. John Lintz now in Vancouver. Riley Lowen obviously there. One of Deej's all-name team Hall of Famers, Nash Moog, in Vancouver. Brett Midsky is there. Looking through Jackson Subak, now in Vancouver, traded from Las Vegas. So a lot of new players on this roster trying to spark a culture, and you want to talk about a guy that's going to help bolster this team and something they've desperately needed defensively. Big OG, Owen Grant, now a Vancouver Warrior.
Yeah, I really like all the moves they made, starting even at the top with Kurt Malosky, but all the way down to, drafting guys like OG and bringing them into the fold. It's a great look at changing things around, changing the culture, bringing Vancouver lacrosse back and trying to be competitive. But like we've seen with the Archer or with Atlas, turnover isn't always immediate success. And I think with how much turnover they've had, it's going to take some time setting in, how things like to be done, how guys play together, how guys play in general. And it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get their footing under themselves. I think they'll have an okay season and might be close to one of those fringe teams, but I don't think they get into the playoffs just yet. Just too much change at one time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a good step, but this is a team that is going to need multiple steps, aka multiple years, under a new coach, new regime, new culture being set. I'm excited to watch Vancouver this year and see how things play out for them. But I don't think it's an immediate, switch flipped and they're in the playoffs. It's going to take some time. So Vancouver, not a playoff team for me either. Let's move to one of last year's more exciting teams, Deej. Panther City Lacrosse Club down there in Fort Worth. They made some changes this offseason as well. Obviously, like I mentioned, Patrick Dodds now in Vancouver from that big old trade. Callum Crawford is back with Panther City as well, so that's huge for their offense. They obviously have the boy producer Jonathan Donville, back after a phenomenal PLL season with the Cannons and a phenomenal year last year with Panther City as well. They've got the Caputo boy, Phil Caputo, in the mix once again. Nick Damude back. Tyler Digby now in Panther City. Pat Foley still back with them. Matt Hosick is back. The Malcolm boys, Tony and Will, back. Evan Messenger, Liam Patton, the boy Cole Pickup, Connor Sellers. A lot of pretty much running it back for the most part, outside of adding a guy like Tyler Digby to the mix for this team. How are we feeling about Panther City heading into this new year?
Who else do we have to touch on from the Old West?
Just Las Vegas.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going too crazy here with things. I thought they did a very good job of finding guys that fit together and finding guys that are going to help their team continue to elevate. TK has done an awesome job with this team in the first 2 years. I don't expect anything different this year. And they were so close to getting into the playoffs last year. I think they do the thing and get over the hump this year. I have them sneaking in as like a 7 or 8 seed and getting into the playoffs this year.
They are tough for me. I really like what they have done, the culture that TK has built down there as the head coach. I think Panther City, and I want to get your thoughts on this because we could have some of this with the East as well. I think Panther City is one of those teams that gets hurt by the unified standings, if that makes sense. Without it being conference aligned, I could have seen Panther City getting in if it was a West and East getting in and having that wild card team. Now that it's not conference aligned and looking at, us having Colorado, Calgary, and San Diego in the playoffs off the rip, that's 3 of your 8 spots filled. You look at the teams that are in the East that we'll preview next week: Buffalo, Toronto, Rochester, Philadelphia, Georgia. Like, that's 5 right there. Not even mentioning a revamped and new look New York Riptide squad. Albany is looking to make some noise. They've added players to the mix.
Halifax.
And Halifax as well, a playoff team from last year. Like, there's 4 or 5 teams in the East that, somebody's going to get snubbed because of the unified standings. That's how I see Panther City right now. They are one of those wild card teams to me where they're going to be frisky. They're going to be a team that you're going to hate playing against. You're going to hate your favorite team playing against them. And they're going to make it so that the playoffs are a difficult thing to get into. They're like my bubble team. I agree with you, them being like a 7 or 8 seed. I'm like 50-50 on them getting in the playoffs. I'm like, they're like right there. They're like not a definitive no, but they're not a definitive yes from me. But I do think they are one of those teams that gets hurt by the unified standings. If they miss the playoffs, it's going to be because you don't have a wild card and you don't have set amount of teams from the West, set amount of teams from the East getting in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to our final team on this preview of the NLL season, the Las Vegas Desert Dogs, another team trying to make some noise in year 2, looking to revamp, reload, have some new players on the roster. Obviously Jack Hanna balled out for them last year. Looking at some of the key players, the boy, Colin Kirst, on the roster in net for the Vegas Desert Dogs. Marshall King now in Vegas. Rob Hellier is back. You have Jacob Rouet, the Rooster, back in Vegas. James Barclay in Vegas. Casey Jackson officially in Vegas. Jack Hanna's back. Connor Kirst with the Vegas Desert Dogs. You have, let us all salute, Birdman, Charlie Bertrand. Adrian Sorchetti in Vegas. Zach Greer is back. Joel Watson, Reed Reinhold. And if I'm not mistaken, unless he got cut, Cole Kirst is also in camp with Vegas. So the Kirst triad is in Vegas. They also have an all-name team representative on their defense, Griffin Hall. Great lacrosse name. Vegas is going to be fun. They're going to be frisky. I think they're going to be a very entertaining team to watch. I think they are going to have more wins than they did last year. Are they a playoff team yet? I don't think so. I think they are in the process of building towards that. Let's see what they can do this year. Make some noise. Build upon what you set as a foundation last year and improve upon it. But I don't have Vegas as a playoff team in 2024.
Yeah, me either. And I have them kind of more closer to the spot that you have Panther City. Kind of that team that's going to come in, be scrappy, make it really hard, but just be on the right on the outside looking in. Like, you were there, you had a very good record, you were in close games, but just didn't have enough against a couple teams to get you over the hump. So I think Vegas builds upon what they had last year, but still just not quite enough.
So there's our West preview. 3 teams certified locks to get into the playoffs from our opinions, being Colorado, Calgary, San Diego. Saskatchewan, not just a playoff team yet. Vancouver, still building. Panther City, Deej, you have them in. I have them like knocking on the door. They could be. They might not be. Vegas, we both have them as a no. We'll see what happens with the East as we preview the East next week. Let us know in the YouTube comment section if you want OTB Radio to be something that happens somewhat, if not often. Because it's content for you guys. Like, the content we make at this company is for our listeners, for our fans. If you want it, we will try to provide it to the best of our ability. Let us know how you feel about our NLL Western Conference playoff teams. How you feel about the West as a whole, even though it is unified standings, but those teams on the West Coast. Let us know how you feel about your home markets and how they affiliate with the PLL having home cities now. Let us know players, coaches, everything in between that you want on as guests. We're trying to work in guests again. I know it was a difficult scheduling-wise for us in the summer because we were always on the road doing things with our day jobs and everything. But let us know. We're going to try to work in more guests because we know you guys love when we have players and coaches and everything in between on. Let us know in the YouTube comment section who you want because we will make it happen. Follow us on the socials at OTB Laxpod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Follow Deej at SCS_NextGreat. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia. Get your merch, phiapparel.co, code underground for 10% off your order. And this has been episode number 297, a homecoming episode, if you will, of the allegedly award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Deej, I'm KB. We're getting the heck up out of here. We'll see you next week. We are signing off. Peace.